Hello everyone, teacher Skyla here with skylasposts.com, and on this channel you'll find videos all about making an income from home. In this video specifically, we're going to talk about why I quit GOGOKID. I do want to briefly touch on why I started GOGOKID and then why I quit GOGOKID. All right. And if you actually look way back on my channel, when I very first started this channel and had no idea about anything about how YouTube works and things like that, still learning, but I actually started out with GOGOKID videos. And I did buy this on Etsy. I don't even remember who made it, but I love this jacket. It's lightweight. I want to get another one with not GOGOKID on it. But I started with GOGOKID in the first place for a few reasons. I was already teaching with VIP Kid, and I was hesitant at the idea of teaching for multiple companies. That was kind of foreign to me because I had been with VIP Kid for over a year at this point, and it was going very well for me. I got in with them right before they really grew and took off. I remember a lot of growth. But GOGOKID, as far as I understand, was actually created by, this is my own thoughts and what I have heard, is it was actually created by some VIP Kid teachers that had left and started their own company. So there are a lot of things in GOGOKID that are very similar to VIP Kid, especially the way that they want you to teach and speak to the students and things like that. So if you're looking for online ESL companies that are similar, in my experience, VIP Kid and GOGOKID are the most similar to each other, but they have some major differences. And we'll talk about that because that has to do with some of the reasons why I quit. But when I started, because I had such a strong background in teaching ESL online with already working for VIP Kid, I actually was offered their highest base pay that they offer, which is $10. So that was huge for me. It was just really great to see that they valued my experience. And so that was one thing, is I thought, if I could get a higher base pay, this could potentially be really great. And so that was one reason I started. Another reason I started is they were offering new teacher bonuses. And if you did certain things, you could earn bonuses. And my old videos talk about that, but you don't even need to watch that because they don't do it anymore. But they had a new teacher sign-on bonus. And if you opened so many of their peak time slots, then you could be eligible. So I did end up earning $600 in new teacher bonuses for starting. So that right there was worth it to be available and earn that. And then also, if I was helping recruit teachers, they were paying $120 per teacher, or VIP Kid was paying $100 per teacher. So it was a better deal to offer to people wanting to get started with online ESL who either was or wasn't already teaching online, because at the time they also had the potential to earn that $600 initial teacher bonus. Again, that's no longer, but when GOGOKID was first starting. And then also I'd get $120 if someone was interested versus the $100 that VIP Kid was offering. So my thought was, if I look into it and I'm open to the idea of teaching it, I could potentially earn that $600 bonus and also earn $120 per teacher. I think I ended up helping like 8 teachers get started with GOGOKID, and bookings were okay, and it went fine. I taught over 300 classes with them. It got a little tricky because I was used to giving all my peak time slots to VIP Kid, and what I started doing was I'd open everything for GOGOKID, and they didn't do short notice classes, meaning if it wasn't booked before 24 hours, it couldn't get booked. And so every time slot that did not book with GOGOKID, because I gave them all my peak time slots to better my chances of earning more bonuses and in trying to earn that new teacher bonus and things. So I would give all my peak time slots to GOGOKID. They were also offering bonuses, sometimes $1 here and there for classes taught during peak times. Anyway, they had a lot of things they were trying to do to grow, and it all benefited me at the time, and it was great. But I was trying to balance my schedule, and it So if a class didn't book with GoGoKid during peak time slots, I would go ahead and open it short notice with VIP Kid. So I literally would teach an hour of VIP Kid classes, and then I would open 2 hours or 4 time slots for GoGoKid, and then I'd open another hour with VIP Kid. But my problem was right in those peak time slots when I was jumping back and forth between platforms. That's why this jacket was so great. Because I'd have like in my peak time slot, those 4, I'd go like VIP Kid, GoGoKid, GoGoKid, VIP Kid, or VIP Kid, GoGoKid, VIP Kid, GoGoKid. So I'd have to have, they didn't even have a teaching app with GoGoKid when I started. They didn't have the phone app. They're still working on those. They're not fantastic, but they have them. And it was insane. I'd have my VIP Kid teaching app open and all my resources open, and then have my GoGoKid website, and I'm clicking back and forth. And we're talking, up to 5 minutes per class if I didn't go over my 25 minutes. Sometimes it'd be like a 26-minute class, and I'd have 4 minutes. And so I'd zip my jacket on, I'd take it off. It was a lot. So if you are teaching for multiple companies, I'm not saying you can't jump back and forth. And if you do, I'm saying a jacket's awesome. But I would suggest keeping it like my intention was. Like VIP Kid is always this time to this time, GoGoKids this time to this time. Does that make sense? Like if 5 to 6 a.m. is always one company and 6 to 7 is always the other. But I wanted to teach those time slots, and if GoGoKid wasn't filling, that jumping back and forth in a different pattern every day because of those 4 time slots, not always booking with GoGoKid, was insane. Don't recommend that. But it was really great because I was teaching just enough to really get full bonuses. So when I was getting full max bonuses on that pay scale with GoGoKid, I was getting $25 an hour. And with VIP Kid, I was only making $21. So it was really beneficial. And I did get some regulars. And I, contrary to other people, actually enjoyed the curriculum. I do enjoy the curriculum with GoGoKid because for me, it was a brain break. There was half as much content. I could extend like crazy. That was easy for me. Extending is easy for me. And spending 2 minutes on a slide was great. But as a brand new teacher going into online teaching, I can see that would be very difficult when you have an entire slide with 1 word on it and you're supposed to spend 2 minutes on it. Like, I get that. I get that that's hard. For me, it was a brain break, and I loved it because I'm like, oh, yay, a GoGoKid class. It's a break for me. But if you're brand new, like, what do you do with that? So I do think their interactive functions that they try to have are cute. I think their characters are cute. I personally do actually enjoy GoGoKid's curriculum. But if you are not hitting all the requirements to hit all of their full bonus potential, your earnings are not great. So I decided to back off from GoGoKid for quite a while. It was like 8 months. And then I thought, you know what? Maybe I'll kind of dive back into it and see how I feel now. I really did love the students and I did enjoy the curriculum, and why not give it a shot? But at that point, I had no bonuses because their bonuses and point system is based on how much you're opening. And I hadn't been opening things. So I pretty much had like the lowest score on their scale you could have when I used to have the highest. And I didn't even get enough bookings when I did reopen to even earn any bonuses. So then I'm only getting the base pay of $10, which makes it $20 an hour. Well, VIP Kid was giving me $21 an hour. And so because I wasn't putting all my time and effort and energy into trying to get the max bonuses from GoGoKid, it made my pay okay. And I was blessed to get a $10 base pay. Most people don't get that. So right now, and for a while, I'd say probably over a year, any teacher I talk to has had low bookings with GoGoKid, except for the people who got in there when I did and are still there and put their heart and soul into it. So starting out, It's hard. Well, it's harder to get in. They do hiring freezes often, which is fine. That's what works for that company, and they want to nurture the teachers they already have. But it's hard to get into, and once you get in, bookings are so hard to get, not just through dips throughout the year. They're consistently hard to get unless, like I said, you've already been in there. And if you aren't opening slots with them, you're losing points. And it's great if you are and you're earning points. It helps you. But if you're not consistently opening, then you're only going to get your base pay. And most people's base pay is probably $7. So then you're getting $14 an hour. I just think that there's other companies that you might be able to get it higher. I did like their cancellation policy, because there were a couple of times where I didn't have a GoGoKid class booked and I got a party booking request from a VIP Kid student and I'd forget to close the GoGoKid slot. I did that a couple of times. I never messed up when I knew it was short notice and it couldn't get booked. But then I was like, I have to cancel with GoGoKid because their cancellation policy was easier, because you could just cancel and then try to, you would lose bonus points and then you try to earn more back later before the month was over. So they're a little bit more generous on their cancellation policy, but then it could potentially affect your bonuses. So it's kind of a back and forth thing. The other thing with GoGoKid is that when I started, they didn't even have any kind of payment system to look at. They do now, but when you teach a class, you can't even see what you're going to make from the class for like a week. And with other companies, you can usually see within 24 hours. So that can be really hard unless you're really diligent about, which I am, but I know everyone's not like me. If you're not really diligent about writing down and keeping track on paper or on the computer exactly what you're making, you just have to wait and wait and wait and wait. And then you're like, am I even getting paid for that? And they also only pay once a month in the middle of the following month. So between the 10th and 15th, usually you'll get paid, where other companies have found ways to pay more frequently. So that's hard to work your whole first month, if you even get any bookings, and then you have to wait another 2 weeks into the following month to get paid. It's kind of hard to wait those 6 weeks. It was that way with VIP Kid when they started and with other companies. But VIP Kid, they can now pay you once a month, twice a month, or weekly, because they aren't doing international wire transfers anymore. They have an office in San Francisco, and as far as I understand, everything just is sent locally if you live in the U.S. So anyway, there's always pros and cons of every company. There's a lot of things about GoGoKid that I do love. It's just not a good fit for me because that's not where my foundation is. That's not where I have built up and grown with. It was sad to say bye to some of those regulars that I had, but I've consistently seen people have a difficult time getting hired. Even in the hiring process, it's hard. Half the time, they don't even have interviews sections available when they're not on a hiring freeze. I actually lost probably 5 or 6 referrals because of their lack of availability for interviews. And people were coming in ready to go, and there was never an interview time slot open for weeks and weeks and weeks. So they're like, forget it. Like, I don't care about the sign-on bonus. I'll just keep working my job I already have. So anyway, that's just kind of my thoughts and reasons why I quit GoGoKid. I hope you found this helpful. And like I said, pros and cons. You just have to figure out what works for you. For all I know, they could be in a hiring freeze again right now. But if you look into it and they're hiring and you have that chance to get in, you get bookings, wonderful. I enjoyed it. I thoroughly did enjoy it. I have a friend, she's exactly opposite. She's like, the curriculum. Oh, I love her. But yeah. If you have any questions, please comment below. Comment below or email me at skylasposts@gmail.com.